Welcome. Oh, our overlay. There we go. Welcome into the show, everybody. And of course, happy Friday. We are your host. I am Jake Jordan, aka the Northeastern Nostradamus, even though I don't know if I can call myself that after losing last week's peak to Justice. And of course, always it's Justice, aka the GM. And we're your Friday night guys underneath the Friday night lights. And this is Built Different. Now, Justice, it's welcome. Welcome into the show. The first question that I always ask, how you doing, man?
I am phenomenal. Just sitting here looking over the games to see who I'm going to pick so that I can continue to build my lead here.
Okay.
But I'm doing well. Super excited for football this weekend, and a great game last night.
Yeah.
Got you. Yeah, man, I'm good. Just ready for football this week. We got a big test this weekend versus the Dolphins, and looking over these games, and it's very similar to what we experienced last week, where it's like not too many straight giveaways. A lot of these games are either um, it's two crappy teams or it's two like okay teams, and there's not very many it just like, oh my God, like this team is definitely going to win. Not too many shining favorites. And then the
Right.
ones that are, we saw last week, those can sometimes become upsets. Like the Ravens losing to the Colts, like without Anthony Richardson. It makes
Yeah.
no sense.
To Gardner Minshew. Damn
Insane.
it.
Insane. How you been, man?
Absolutely. Dude, you know what? I'm doing as peachy as you can be on a Friday. This is of course one of my favorite times of the week because I get to sit down and actually talk about football, escape from real life for a little bit and talk about, the team that I love the most and, just random sports stuff. But we got a good show for you guys today. And first, we're going to, start off with we already brought up some of the games that we were talking about, some around the NFL and specifically in our division, just kind of everything that happened last week. The the Broncos decided
Suck.
to to look like the worst defense in NFL history. Like I could not believe just this. I was sitting there watching that game. You picked, oh, the Finns were gonna win, and I was like, okay, well, I guess I'll just say the Broncos will be my upset of the week because I was just a fool for sitting there hoping that defense was going to do anything. And it turns out after the second quarter, they pretty much said, nah, we're done.
Yeah,
Like,
we quit.
we're not going to play football anymore. And then Mike White comes in
Ball out.
and balls out on him after Tua balls out on him, even though, 3 out of his 4 touchdowns, he threw the pass and it was completed behind the line of
I
scrimmage.
saw that. I saw the
Yeah.
chart for his touchdown pass. He had the one touchdown pass that was,
Yep.
was slightly down the field,
Which
and
was
then
a
the rest was
beautiful
just like
pass. Yeah.
right at the line of scrimmage. I was like, that was Josh Allen. People be on his head. Joseph
Yeah.
with 2 air yards per pass. Like, all right, bro, whatever.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Like it's that happened. Kudos to the Dolphins. 70 points. That's it's historic. They could have got 73, got the record.
He could have got 80, to be honest.
Honestly, dude, like I could not. It was embarrassing watching the Broncos at that. Like that's a fireable offense, honestly, in
If it
my
wasn't Sean
my
Payton, they
book.
probably would be fired right
Yeah,
now.
exactly. Like if that was still Nathaniel Hackett, he would have been gone. Like that easy, simple as that. And then another game that happened just happened to be the New York Jets losing their 15th consecutive game to the New England Patriots after Mac Jones sack tapped Sauce Gardner, apparently. And that's
I'm hearing a lot about Mac Jones, about some of the stuff he's done, and not only that, but I mean, so like you look at the Jets, and they were this Super Bowl favorite. They were going to be
right.
amazing, be great, and I understand, right? You're a Hall of Fame, top 10, maybe top 5-ish quarterback.
Yeah,
Gets injured. That can be a blow to your morale. But
yeah,
at the same time, you play the Patriots, who are preseason, bar none, the worst team in this division. Like at the beginning of the
definitely.
season, everybody picked Patriots to finish last, and they end up, just going back to the
You're the
Jets.
Jets. You suck. You
Mhm.
are terrible.
And I know we lost to them. I get it.
Mhm.
But like, even when you think about it, if you think about that game, right? We literally had to give the Jets every opportunity to win that game, right?
Yeah,
If they would have put Kyle Allen in the game, we win that game. And
yeah,
look, I'll admit it, right? That game was all Josh's fault.
it was.
All Josh's fault. And I look at the dozens of games that we've won because of Josh. I could give
Mhm.
him, you know what I'm saying? Well, look, it was week 1, you know what I'm saying? Like it wasn't week 14 and a major game that's gonna, be for home field advantage or something. Like he did week 1, he was super excited, and he got a little, he got a little excited, got a little sugar rush, and he had one of
Yeah.
those games. But I mean, they've sucked ever since.
Yeah, and you know, it, it's really hard to win football games when your defense is on the field for 75% of the entire snaps that are played in a game. Uh, they're a really good defense, but dude, they're gassed. And like that gave the Patriots enough time to, come and get the lead. And, even though it wasn't that pretty of a game, it was one of your typical, drought era AFC East games where, it was pretty much, it could have ended like 6-3. Like it was absolutely like just a slog to watch. And I don't think I've ever seen a quarterback regress as much as I have seen Zach Wilson regress. He came into the league as a quarterback that everybody said, "Oh, he's a gunslinger. He's reckless." I've never seen a dude whose offensive line gives him 4 to 5 seconds to throw the ball, and dude just is holding on to it, doesn't know what to do. Like,
No,
did
like
it year
seriously,
3.
somebody put up a clip of him at BYU, and he was letting it fly. They were
Yeah.
like, "What happened to this guy?" And I'm looking at the clip, and all of the passes are accurate. He missed a couple people like
Mhm.
here, some, you know what I mean, man. He made some crazy throws, and I was just like, "Damn, what did happen to that guy?" Like you are this phenom in college, and then you can go to the NFL and just have all your confidence ripped away from you. It's insane.
Dude's absolutely broken, has no confidence. And where's that guy that made the Jets pick him over, Justin Fields? Like, where's that guy? He's not there, not anymore. And the fact is, the Jets have mailed it in. Their fans know it. We all know it. When they came out and said that, look, we're going to stick with Zach Wilson. Zach Wilson's the guy. You
Yeah.
already see, you hear reports, and it's New York media, so who knows if it's true or not. Salah's losing the locker room because he's being viewed as a Zach Wilson apologist. Last year, dude, when Zach Wilson was playing bad, or when he wasn't playing and they put Mike White in, dude, the teammates were wearing Mike White t-shirts.
He was a beast. He was pretty
Yeah.
good.
He looked so good. And the only reason he's not on the Jets team this year is because they didn't want to give up on Zach Wilson. So they let him go to Miami because they didn't want to make a controversy, some sort of quarterback controversy, even though they had Aaron Rodgers. Like, the Jets pretty much in signing Trevor Siemian have phoned it in. They're done. Like, I'm sorry, Trevor Siemian is not the savior of the Jets season. Like, that was a move to be like, hey, look, we're trying, but their fans see right through it. It's over for them. And that sucks because for their fans, at least, they came into this season with high expectations, getting borderline annoying with how they were, but still they had Aaron Rodgers. They have a really good defense. You know, they're going to be able to contend when they bring all these people in. And then Aaron Rodgers goes down, and then their team basically phones it in like, yeah, you know what? No, we're going to just stick with Zach, even though he's looked terrible. So I feel bad that they just have to watch terrible football all year. But, you know, now it's just time to be like, and it makes it look even worse that we lost to them in week 1. But
okay.
Yeah, it's the only, like, that Bills team in week 1 is completely different from this Bills team going into week 4 already, and it's crazy. But yeah, that was a crazy game that happened, and we don't, you know, we're gonna finish it off here a little bit. You know, the Bills went into Washington and had one of the greatest defensive displays, led by Terrell Bernard, that I have ever seen, Justice. I'm sure you've talked about this. I'm pretty sure you went live right after the game.
Oh yeah,
to talk about the game. And just cliff notes. How did you feel about the game overall on both sides of the ball?
So you mentioned, you know, the defense, and defense had 4 INTs, 9 sacks, a forced fumble, and the recovery. They're the first team to do that since 1985. Cowboys did it. Terrell Bernard had an INT. He had 2 sacks.
Yep.
He had a fumble recovery and 7 tackles. First guy to do that since 2007, Brian Urlacher, right? You take a look at the defensive line as a whole, 15 QB pressures and 8 sacks. 8 sacks for the
in one game
for the Buffalo Bills defensive line with no Von Miller. Insanity, right?
Justice. I know we sit here and, you know, we didn't want to blame Leslie Frazier for a long time, but so this defensive line be looking different.
You guys know I'm a huge Leslie Frazier fan.
Yeah,
I'm not gonna lie. At this current point, is looking like McDermott knows what he's doing. He certainly knows what he's doing. Ed Oliver, Daquan Jones, Leonard Floyd, all had at least 5 pressures.
Yep.
Insanity. I've never seen a display like that, especially from our team, right? It's like you see stuff like that from like the Cowboys, right? Micah Parsons or excuse me, like Washington back when those guys were really, really good. But you don't see this from the Buffalo Bills defense, and you don't see very much where our secondary is like, you know, you kind of got to make up for them. And I won't even say make up for them, because there's a reason that they were able to get so many sacks, is because the secondary was doing their job, right?
Yeah.
But I would say you don't see very much where the secondary isn't the focal point of the defense. That defensive line, it was absolutely magnificent. Not only that, but Terrell Bernard and Matt Milano running around the entire football field. They are the 2 best the linebackers in the league as of right now. Of course, you know, Terrell Bernard is not yet proven, so we're not going to call him one of the best linebackers in the league. But statistically, he's one of the best linebackers in the league right now. And then you flip it on the other side of the ball. Josh, 218 yards passing on 71.8%. A tutty and an interception. I don't hate the interception. You just giving your guy a chance. You know, good quarterbacks do that. I'm not mad at it. But you take a look at James Cook, 98 yards on the ground for 6.5 yards per carry, right? 168 yards rushing as a team.
Dude,
the
we can
Buffalo Bills.
We can run the ball.
A good defensive line in a power run game from the Buffalo Bills. This is not something that anybody was expecting, let alone, you know, nothing nobody was expecting to see.
Justice, if you were a time traveler and you went back and told Jake and Justice last year that, hey, next year Leslie Frazier is going to be gone, which maybe I would have celebrated, but like, and said our defensive line is going to be so dominant. Terrell Bernard is going to step right in from where Tremaine Edmonds was, and he's going to look like an absolute beast. And also, we're going to be able to run the damn ball. I would have been like, you're fucking
I
lying.
wouldn't believe me. You're like, you imposter. You're not me.
You're lying.
I mean, the crazy thing is,
all right. So I was obviously a big fan of Leslie Frazier's defense, and I was okay with what Leslie Frazier's defense brought to the table because, again, you let them, go little by little, and once they reach, the red zone, you're able to stop them. And I'm okay with that sacrifice because we got 17 on the other side of the ball, so 3 points isn't really that big of a deal to me. And not only that, but there was plenty of times where a team, the momentum was just like overwhelming and they would miss the field goal, and it was like, oh my god. And the crowd would go wild, especially if they were in Orchard Park. That happened a lot. However, what Leslie Frazier's defense did was they only rushed 4, and we didn't have like pass rushers that were dominant enough to just get pressure with 4 until Von Miller came, and then things started to change a little bit, right? Then you consider, all right, Leslie Frazier is gone. You get Leonard Floyd. Now, a lot of people thought Leonard Floyd was like, okay, he's decent, I guess. But he turned out he is more than decent. He's been playing extremely well so far this season. You mix that in with another year experience of Greg Rousseau. You mix that in with Ed Oliver being healthy. You mix that with DeQuan Jones having a hell of a season so far. And then you also mix all that in with a good amount of blitzing.
Yeah.
You see a lot of linebackers flying through the line, on pass plays, which you don't often see, especially from Bills defenses. It's usually just a 4, maybe a 5 on a lucky day, but sometimes we send 5, 6, and those guys get home a lot. So our linebackers and the back end of our defense has been playing well enough to contain the receivers to the point where they allow those linemen to get pressure, because it's one thing to, have to, 5-on-4, right? And you got to block these 4 guys in front of you. It's another thing when you got to block a Leonard Floyd 1-on-1 or a Greg Rousseau 1-on-1 or Ed Oliver 1-on-1, because you also got to deal with Terrell Bernard or Matt Milano or Jamal Johnson blitzing off the edge, etc. So I love the way Sean McDermott's defenses have been playing, and I am not going to sit here and rain on the parade just because I like Leslie Frazier. This defense obviously looks a lot better, just from the aspect of getting to the quarterback. That was like, our defense was fine before, we just never got to the quarterback, and now we are, and that is a huge difference.
Yeah, I mean, just go back to last year, or even, God, it's been like the last 3 years now. We're sitting here, we're like, well, their pass rush win rate and all this stuff, like, it wasn't getting to the quarterback.
Right.
And that is the big thing that not only has separated us from a lot of the teams that have gone farther than we have in the postseason, but also just being more aggressive. You can tell that Sean McDermott's defense, it's not Leslie Frazier's defense. So now I didn't know how much stock I had in McDermott saying, I'm going to let Leslie Frazier run Leslie Frazier's defense.
Yeah.
I was always like, yeah, whatever, Sean. We all know it's your defense. Apparently not.
Big difference.
Like, big difference through 3 weeks, man. And like, dude, it's just overall just more aggressive. And Sean McDermott puts a lot more like reliability on linebackers. So do I think Tremaine Edmonds could have produced in the? I don't know how much better he would be being asked to be a super tight coverage linebacker? I'm not sure. Do I think if they were sending Tremaine Edmonds like they were Terrell Bernard that they'd get some production? Hell yeah, I think they would.
Sure.
Like, so I don't know what kind of the deal was, but look, we've seen Sean McDermott in the past. He's been able to mold linebackers into some. I mean, the most famous example is Luke Kuechly being an absolute stud. Now, I'm not going to sit here and tell you Terrell Bernard is Luke Kuechly after he had just one good week, but you can tell the way that they're using him is a lot like the way that he used Luke Kuechly. So I wouldn't be surprised if, you know, that's why they chose to keep him instead of re-signing Tremaine Edmonds to a big deal, even though I'm sure they would have liked to re-sign Tremaine. You know, that price was not going to be when you got a cheaper dude on the roster that fits more of what you think your plan is going to be moving forward. It just financially makes more sense to do that. But we talk about our defensive line, Justice. And last week when we were talking about kind of how we thought this game was going to go, we talked about, well, what is the defensive line for the Washington Commanders going to look like? And, you know, we said, well, they've got Daron Payne and they've got Montez Sweat and they've got Chase Young. So it all depended on how did our offensive line look in this game. And I have, through 3 weeks, outside of maybe the first game where they didn't play as hot, no problems with this offensive line. This is the first year where it really feels like, oh, Josh has time. Like, he has decent protection, and our offensive line is blocking in a way to where running backs can finally have success. And look, the defensive line for not only the Raiders, but also the Commanders, those aren't like bum defensive lines. And the Bills are handling their own against that. We'll talk about it a little bit more when we talk about their matchup with the Dolphins. But this offensive line, in particular, Deion Dawkins deserves a absolute medal. He has been the best thing that you can be as like an offensive lineman is not hearing your name very much at all. Because if you don't hear your name, that means you're not getting beat, which means that your quarterback is staying upright. And Deion Dawkins has been an absolute wall. Osiris Torrance, wall. Like, even Mitch Morse, wall. Like, the entire offensive line, and, you know, we sit there and we're like, oh, Spencer Brown, blah, blah, blah. Spencer Brown the last 2 weeks has held his own. And a lot of it has to do with them just sending a tight end to just chip the guy and then go out into, out into the flat, kind of just tail off. And Josh Allen being able to hit it, using things like that, bringing a tight end in just to help out there on the edge. All these kind of concepts are really helping the offensive line. And this is, look, as a Bills fan, I'm not used to seeing an offensive line that can block for our quarterback, a defensive line that can destroy the other team's quarterback, and running backs that it doesn't matter who you put back there, they're going to be able to run effectively. Like, this is, as, a modern Bills fan, as we are, we weren't around to watch OJ or anything like that. Like, this is really nice. It feels good to be on par with some of these others. So when you think of the way the offense kind of decided to go off, right, on this defense, what did you think about that, Justice?
Go off. What do you mean by that?
Go off as in being able to run on them, throw on them. Like Josh Allen, you already brought up the kind of the arm punt that happened, but like just having this ability, and we'll let this lead into Bills Dolphins, but how does this make you feel? being able to see the ability from the trenches to the arm talent to just everything about this offense.
Yeah, well, if you take a look at the way the team was structured in 2017, right, back when Tyrod was the quarterback, it
Sure.
would run, right?
Yeah.
McCoy, Tyrod Taylor, run. Of course, Josh's first year, again, it was LaShawn McCoy and Josh Allen, run.
Mhm.
Next season, it became that Josh Allen, Devin Singletary, Frank Gore, run, right? And then that next season is when you kind of started to take a turn, right? It was still a lot of running, but it was also like, okay, all right, Josh can do this whole quarterback thing.
Yeah, John Brown, Cole
and then-
Beasley, like
And then
just going
from that
off.
point on, it was just straight up Josh. It was just like,
Yeah.
Josh, throw it here. Josh, throw it there. Josh, win this game for us. And I don't really think that was fair to Josh. It became a point where he was easily the most used quarterback. In terms of usage rate, he was the most used quarterback in the league.
Oh, yeah.
Player in the league, excuse me. Which is why when people talk about his turnovers all the time, I'm like, I get it. Like, I understand you don't want your quarterback to have that many turnovers. I get it.
Right.
But at the same time, you have to add context. If a quarterback is being used more than anybody else in the league, has more total touchdowns than anybody else in the league since he got adequate starters in 2020,
yeah,
of course he's going to have more interceptions.
Yeah.
I mean, you would hope he doesn't have more interceptions, but his number is going to be high. He's throwing the ball a lot. He's throwing the ball all the time. He has the ball in his hands a ton. So that was one thing that we've been screaming at the Buffalo Bills, like, yo, Josh cannot be the only person doing something. Like, we need other people to step up and create some offense. And now you look at it, James Cook is averaging 6.1 yards a carry, ladies and gentlemen. This offensive line, and not only, like you mentioned, they're giving Josh time to throw, they're creating holes for these running backs going through. They are bullying people. I've mentioned it. Osiris Torrance is our version of Quentin Nelson. You know, he just, you know, he looks really, really good. I love the way he has. I'm not going to credit the entire shift of the offensive line to him.
Mhm.
I will say we've had most of these guys for a while, and it hasn't looked like this.
No.
So between him and Connor McGovern, our inside has been shored up, right? Spencer Brown is having some trouble, although I will give kudos to Ken Dorsey for being able to hide that a little bit more, as opposed to like a couple of years ago when we placed the Steelers in week 1 and like Melvin Ingram just ransacked Spencer Brown, just absolutely destroyed him every play. And it was like, are you gonna like help him or something? Like, I think that was Table actually. It was like, are you gonna help him? Like, are you gonna like put somebody over here to like?
And then Melvin Ingram that same season went to Miami and then did like, he went to Kansas City that year.
That's what it was.
Yeah, and then he did the same thing.
Yeah, exactly. And it was just like, dude, are you just gonna let them do that? Like, are you just like you playing Madden and you forget to slide the protection in the play? Come on, bro, you're a professional. So, you know, for them to be able to hold the line, create, you know, push people and push people down the field, like just you take a look at it, and it's invigorated the entire scheme, the entire system, right? You take a look at, there was a play. I forget who it was against, but it was Dawson Knox and Dalton Kincaid, and they double teamed somebody and pushed them back like 5-6 yards, and it was like, oh my God, I love this. Yeah. And you know, we're not used to seeing that. This is really a completely new Bills team, which I think is extremely dangerous for the rest of the league, because if Josh Allen can blow a team out on 180 yards passing or 210 yards passing, excuse me, that's a problem for everybody else, because the only reason we were good up until this point was we had Josh and Steph and a good defense. Everything else was kind of like, you know, it was what it was. Now you got Josh hasn't even really had a phenomenal game yet, and yet the offense has been phenomenal these last 2 weeks. Gabriel Davis, team captain Gabriel Davis, stepping up and becoming more of a consistent threat, right? Stephon Diggs still getting his catches every game. Dalton Kincaid, they're getting about 9 different receivers the last 2 games. Both games, they had 9 different receivers catch a ball. They're spreading the offense, spreading the ball around to members of the offense. The defense is getting after it. Everything looks good. Now, granted, we played the Raiders and the Commanders, so I'm going to hold a little bit. But again, I keep saying, these are two professional football teams. Sam Howell was great up until last week. He was having a really, really good season, right? Jimmy Garoppolo, he's played in Super Bowls. Okay. So this isn't like the Lions or the 0-16 Lions coming in, and we just blowing them out, or the Denver Broncos, blowing them out. This is actual competitive football teams who are going to be fighting for playoff spots at the end of the season.
Yeah, and I kind of want to, bring up the fact that you said this feels like a different Buffalo Bills offense, to where it's like Josh Allen they'll still blow you out, and he only throws for 210 yards. This isn't, last year or even the year before that, where you had games where Josh Allen was throwing the ball 50 times a game. Like, this is a new team where, we're kind of implementing. You brought up how 9 different people caught the ball. Do you remember in Dayball's last season, we were 1 touchdown to a different receiver away from throwing the most touchdowns to different receivers in a single season?
I do remember that.
So, and that year as well was the year where Brian Daboll was like, how about I implement a little bit more play action and stuff? And what's happening this year? We're implementing more play action.
Under center play action.
Yeah.
And not only under center play action, but if you have the threat of James Cook in the backfield, and I might actually stick it in his belly, and he might actually have this ball and run and gain 5 to 6 yards, on this play, the defense has to respect it, as opposed to in the past where they ain't throwing in a ball. Go get Josh, right?
Yeah.
So it's completely different. And they're under center a lot. They're playing at 12 personnel because you need Dalton Kincaid on the field, because he's too good not to be on the field. Not only that, but real quick, I don't mean to cut you off, Jake.
Go ahead.
I just want to say this real quick. ESPN has projected James Cook's stats for the rest of the season. Now, take this with a grain of salt. Obviously,
is he rushing for over 1,000 yards, Justice?
249 carries for 1,513 yards.
Oh my God! In what world? In what world?
So essentially, what is happening is he has rushed for 1,500 yards equivalent in the first 3 weeks. So they're going based off of his average, 6.1 yards per carry. If he continues at the rate he's going, 1,500 yards, y'all. Insanity.
Could you? I can't even imagine that. The last couple of years we've been sitting here going like, if we could just get any kind of effective running out of Devin Singletary or Zach Moss, maybe like if James Cook is able to do that, just because, first of all, if James Cook runs for that, the NFL better watch out, or even close to it. Like, legitimately, because if he's running for that, I'd like to see what Josh Allen's stats would look like, or what would the Bills' points scored per game, and what would their average time of possession look like per game. Like, it would have to be absolutely insane, because what we're seeing from James Cook is, once you kind of get the lead towards the end of the game, they just kind of feed him the rock, and that's what we want him to do. We want him to close out games, pretty much. That's what we need him to do. And you got guys like Damian Harris and Latavius Murray for short yardage situations. So I really just, when I look at the way this offense is running, you said it perfectly when you said that if this team looks different, and that's dangerous for the NFL. And I feel like that's something that Miami Dolphins fans are not really thinking about. They think they're going to get the same team that last year struggled against them 2 times with Skylar Thompson, or no, all 3 times were pretty much a struggle. And, Skylar Thompson almost beat it. First of all, Skylar Thompson being as good as he was in that offense just tells me of just how good the system is, right? And you have to be able to of course, carry out a system, but it's still like kind of undermines it kind of undermines a quarterback like Tua, paying a guy like that, right? Do you pay Tua? Yeah, probably because he executes the system. But I mean, just look at San Fran, man. Like
Yeah.
outside of Trey Lance, they can pretty much put whoever they want in at quarterback, and they're going to be effective and be able to run those plays. It's just kind of what you get with a West Coast offense, right? And the thing is, the Dolphins have not seen a defense yet this year outside of New England that has been anywhere close to how the Buffalo Bills defense has looked the last 2 weeks. They're saying, we're going to run all over you. We're going to do this. Well, I don't think if they've seen outside of that giant run by Breece Hall in the first game versus the Jets, the Bills' running stats are about on par with what they've been in the second half of last year. Kind of the Bills can shut down the run. That's not a problem for them. When they hold a guy like Josh Jacobs to negative, what was it, 2 yards?
Negative 2 yards. Yeah.
Negative 2 yards. I'm sorry, but a chain or whatever his name is, the running back that they have, yeah. Like maybe it should scare me. I don't know. He's fast. He's just another fast guy. They got a lot of speed. That's the only thing that worries me about this offense, because if New England was able to figure it out and slow them down, I have no doubt in my mind that a defense that is superior to New England's in the Buffalo Bills with Sean McDermott behind it would have any problem of being able to attack this Dolphins offense. Now, the speed element has always been something that's killed us, right? But when you think about the Dolphins offense versus our defense, Justice, what are your thoughts?
Well, the Dolphins offense versus our defense. When you take a look, just like you said, when you take a look at Tua, he gets the ball out extremely quickly.
Yeah.
Excuse me. He gets the ball out extremely quickly. And when you look at the Bills defensive line, they're some big boys, right? Greg Rousseau is they call him Groot, like literally call him Groot. Not baby Groot, they call him Groot. This was like 6'6", something stupid like that. And then, Leonard Floyd is not short. DaQuan Jones is not short. Ed Oliver is a little short, but he's not short either. These guys are going to be able to get their hands up and, you get their hands up, knock balls down. That's one thing is they like to attack the zone. They do that little, motion where they send the inside guy outside, which is genius. I will say that is absolute genius.
It is.
But I think that Sean McDermott is savvy enough to understand that he has the talent. And I think he'll have the scheme to be able to take that away or at least slow it down to a degree. You got guys who are going to play great zone coverage. Even if they get beat a couple of times, that's fine. I don't think they're going to be able to run on our offense the way that they run on everyone else. Or not even everyone else, just the Broncos, really.
Yeah.
It wasn't like they ran all over the Patriots. I don't think they're going to be able to run on our defense that way. Our defensive line is playing absolutely phenomenal, and our linebackers are flying all over the football field. As long as these guys can run. And honestly, you take a look at the 2 big runs Breece Hall had, they were because of broken tackles.
Yeah.
You take a look at Brian Robinson last week. He had 70 yards on 7 yards to carry, broken tackles.
And
right?
I'll just to bring that up too, is that last week the Denver Broncos could not tackle anybody.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. As long as we wrap up and tackle when we get the opportunity, I don't see A-Chain or Mostert or Ronnie Brown or Ricky Williams or whoever walks through the door. I don't see them, running all over the Bills defensive line like they think they will. Like, this defensive line is playing out of their minds.
Yeah.
And I take a look at our defense on all levels, and I'm impressed. And I'm just like, I don't know, man. Like, I understand that, you have an offense with the capability of dropping 70. That is kudos to you. Like, that's absolutely amazing. I'm not going to sit here and act like it's not. But at the same time, this is a different animal. Not only is it a different animal on one side of the ball, but you also have to deal with a GOAT in his prime on the
Yeah.
other side of the ball. So I listen, man. I like the fact that the Dolphins fans are so confident. I like the fact that everybody in the media is picking the Dolphins. I love that because that's just gonna make for a better video after we beat them.
So remember last week we were making our picks, and I said I don't know if I would rather the Dolphins be 2-1 and come into Buffalo or 3-0. But I'm kind of happy now that they're 3-0 because they were already riding their high horse going in against the Broncos, and they not only did they beat the Broncos to go to 3-0, they dropped a historic 70 points on them, which I don't care what anybody tells me. There are dudes in that locker room that think they're unbeatable. And that changes
As they
your
should.
mental. Yeah, well, yeah. Like, there's nothing wrong with thinking that, but that changes your mental when it comes to preparing for the next game.
It does.
Really does. So I think I saw a stat. It was the 7 teams that have dropped 70 points are 1-6 the week after dropping 70 points.
Oh, shoot.
So the thing about this is that they're a damn good team, especially offensively. Offensively, they are there's a reason they're the number 1 offense in the league right now. But the crazy thing is the Bills are what? Number 2. So
Yep.
right there, all right, the Bills are going to be able to go toe-to-toe offensively with them.
Oh, wait, excuse me. I'm sorry. I think they're number 5 DVOA offense, number 2 DVOA defense.
Okay. So top 5 offense.
And you have to consider that they had week 1 debacle. So despite week 1 having absolutely nothing going for them, these last 2 weeks they've been able to climb into the top 5.
Yeah, and I think the Dolphins can get got right now. After you have a performance like that, I think them coming to Buffalo, riding high, I think that this game is very important because right now we've already got a division loss. We can't take a second one.
Yeah.
They're already riding high, and I think this is the game where, look, our defense the last 2 weeks has showed me that we can be confident in that.
Yeah.
And their defense, no. Like their defense
25th DVOA.
Yeah. Like the thing that tells me is that the Bills having a better defense against the Dolphins offense tells me that there's a higher chance that the Dolphins offense will make mistakes in this game or will not be as effective as they have been in weeks prior. Whereas the Buffalo Bills offense going against the Dolphins defense, which is not that hot of a unit, Vic Fangio, and at least in his first year, their secondary can definitely get got. And they're not really getting any kind of pressure from their defensive line. And I believe that just matchup based, I'm not going to be pro football talk Mike Florio here, Justice. When you go and you view everything, all right, who's got the better defense? The Bills do. Who has the better offense? Slightly on the edge of the Dolphins at this point in time. Who's got the better quarterback? Some people would debate it, but I would say Josh Allen has the...
That is not debatable.
No, we don't think it's debatable, but if you go and look...
The only people that think Tua is a better quarterback than Josh Allen live in Miami.
They live in Miami, and they also are at the headquarters of all the major networks that produce sports.
Yeah, they definitely are there too. Yeah.
So there's a reason. I just think that overall this matchup, it's not going to be a blowout. It's not on either side. This is going to be a close game. It's all going to come down to basically who scores more and who makes more mistakes. And I think that the Bills defense, their capabilities against the Dolphins offense would equal the Dolphins possibly making more mistakes than the Dolphins defense against the Bills offense. So, that's my kind of take on it. Justice, this is an important game. When you think of the Bills offense against this Dolphins defense, what's coming to your mind?
So I think that's interesting that you said that the Dolphins have a better offense than the Bills, and I think a lot of people would agree with you on that. But when I take a look at it, and I'm like,
maybe not after this week. But
yeah, not only that, but if you were to eliminate Week 1, I don't know if you could say that. Is Tyreek Hill better than Stephon Diggs? That's debatable.
Mhm.
I don't think so. I think his speed is just a game changer.
Yeah.
I don't think he's a better wide receiver than Stephon Diggs, though.
Mhm.
Is the offensive line better? Not this season. It's not.
Nope.
Jalen Waddle is a dog. I will admit.
Yeah.
He's one of them. And so to have two number ones like that, I'll give it to you, right? But Dalton Kincaid, Dawson Knox, James Cook is Raheem Mostert and David Njoku, sure, they're super fast, but
yeah,
I'm not going to sit here and say that they're better than James Cook until proven. Like, you need to give me more games of that, right? And I don't think you're going to rush for 250 every game.
no.
So I think that when you are riding your high horse, right, you come in, you just blew a team out by 50 points. And I think they still have a plus minus differential of less than 5 over the Bills, even after blowing the team up by 50 points.
Yeah.
Right. When you get punched in the mouth, or because you go into games thinking this is our game, we're supposed to win, we're the better team, et cetera, et cetera. Mm-hmm. When that other team doesn't just lay down for you, and the Bills are guilty of this as well. We've seen some of this in the last couple of seasons. When that other team doesn't just lay down for you, sometimes, that psychologically messes with people, and it can be mentally taxing, and where it's like, oh wow, we got to actually play. Like, and I think this is a game they better get up for. And I think that 70 burger really, put a lot of confidence in their heart, which again it should, but I think that they might be a little ahead of themselves thinking that they're better than the Bills, because you have to realize we still are 3 times back-to-back AFC East champions.
Yeah.
And until, you come in the throne, you best not miss. And again, Week 3 champions. The Dolphins were Week 3 champions last year too. Yep. Saw what happened in the back end of the season. So I don't know if that'll necessarily happen this year, but we still have to be cautious and still have to remember that hey, it's not guaranteed that you guys are going to win this game. It's not guaranteed you guys are going to win this division, because at some point, just like, remember when Lamar Jackson was going absolutely nuts in his sophomore season, and we were looking at him like, oh my God, we might have a problem for the next decade. Like, if this is what we got to deal with, right? Somebody figured him out. Remember when Patrick Mahomes was going insane? Somebody figured him out. Somebody figured out Josh Allen. So, like, they're not going to be able to sustain the absolute unreal production that they have been able to put forth so far. Somebody's going to figure them out. And my bet is Sean McDermott.
So, Justice, I think you're very on point with that, actually, because you said, man, that sophomore season with Lamar Jackson, who figured him out? Well, they go to the playoffs and they play the Tennessee Titans, and then Mike Vrabel goes out and says they studied tape of how the Buffalo Bills played Lamar Jackson, and that's how they got their game plan of how to defensively attack that team. All right, what did the Buffalo Bills start doing when they started winning the division and they had to play Patrick Mahomes? They started playing 2 high safeties. That's what we were doing.
Mm-hmm.
And what happens? That becomes that's how you guard Mahomes. That's how you guard Allen. Okay, Sean McDermott invented that too. Right? So it's kind of like, or at least was one of the founders of said way to attack that type of offense. So what's happening again? Okay, this year, Mike McDaniel is such a genius, which he is a great offensive mind. He is, really. But they're coming in, oh, it's revolutionary what he's doing with all this motion pre-snap and all of these things. If there's a defensive coach that I think is going to find a way to figure out how to stop that or at least minimize it. Bill Belichick has kind of found a way. He found a way to do it and keep that game close. Sean McDermott is going to put that cherry on top and find a way to make it, because last year, what happened? The Chargers were the team that found the Dolphins out. They were the ones that found out if you just hit the wide receivers within 5 yards, throw off to his timing, he can't spot throw. Because when he throws it, his guys aren't there yet.
It's rhythm.
Yeah, it's rhythm. So this year, they've got a different thing to help minimize Tua and utilize, timing-based throws, spot throwing.
They have Tyreek going in motion pre-snap, so he can't put hands on him.
Yeah, you can't put your hands on him, and he's basically got a running start already. So it's very smart. It is a great offensive, weapon to have all that kind of speed and being able to do that with all that motion. However, it will be figured out. And the Dolphins, I just know that late season collapse will come. It just does. And it has. And Dolphins fans will sit there and be like, oh, you guys are scared. You're scared. That's why you're saying that. That's why. But, I can pretty much say, all right, well, look at the last 2 weeks. And they'll be like, oh, Sam Howell. I'm like, Sam Howell put up 38 on the defense you put up 70 on. So what does that say?
Exactly.
That minimizes what you guys did. So it's kind of like, all right, and then they're like, oh, well, what about the Jets? Y'all lost to the Jets. I'm like, yeah, but what's happened since then? They look nothing like they have against the Jets. So am I scared of this game? No. I'm actually kind of confident going into it.
Me too.
But do I think it has the chance to be a really great close game? I do. Because if Sean McDermott doesn't find a way to minimize that, it's going to be a shootout. It will be. So, and it'll just be, all right, who has the ball the longest and who is the one that has the ball in their hand last? That could be what decides it if Sean McDermott's defense doesn't have a way to go against it. So, Justice, before we kind of give our final predictions on it and what we think the score might be, do you have any other thoughts of this game?
I absolutely do have other thoughts.
Okay.
You take a look at Sam Howell, like you mentioned, Russell Wilson, who played the Commanders' defense.
Sure.
Russell Wilson was able to put up 20 points against the Dolphins. Now, of course, that came in an absolute blowout. However, 20 points is respectable, sort of, kind of, right?
Right.
The Dolphins put up 24 points against the Patriots defense. Tua Tagovailoa had a pretty good game. It was 21-30, 80% passing, 249 yards, a tutty and an INT.
Yeah.
Raheem Mostert had 121, rushing at 6.7 yards to carry, 2 tutties. Now, Raheem Mostert is not going to have 100 yards this weekend. I don't think him nor A-Chain, I don't think any of those guys are going to have 100 yards passing. I think that the Dolphins' defense is not very good.
No.
And I think that, if you let Mac Jones and today's Russell Wilson put up 20 plus on you, or 17, 20 on you, I think Josh Allen has the capacity to put up 40.
Yeah.
Right. Not only Josh Allen has the capacity to put up 40, but James Cook is also cooking. So now that opens up more lanes for Josh Allen to be able to put up numbers. Right. And if he actually has to go against a competent offense that's going to score points, they're going to unleash Josh Allen a little bit more than they've had to the last couple of weeks. We blew out the Raiders, didn't need Josh Allen. We blew out the Commanders, didn't need Josh Allen.
Yeah.
So if we actually have to unleash Josh Allen, I think that the bloodbath could get even worse. And like I said, they only scored 24 points on the Patriots.
Yeah.
So all this 70, impressive as it is not like going to be a weekly thing where they're just dropping 50 burgers on people. I absolutely think that this is going to be a wake-up call for the Dolphins offense, their defense, the city of Miami, everybody. are going to say like, oh, okay, maybe we aren't unstoppable, and I think they have to be content with having a good team as opposed to like an unstoppable team, which we'll see if they are.
Yeah, I believe that in full, that there is a lot of people right now. There's a lot of fans online, and I get that not all Dolphins fans are crazy Dolphins fans that are, going out saying they're going to drop 70 on us and stuff like that. But there's a lot of media hype around them. Once the Jets pretty much every year, it's whatever team do they think can take down the Bills, because we have so many major markets in our, like, you got to think about it. We have Boston, New York, New Jersey, and Miami markets. And those are the three, like, markets that any station, if they can run with a story, they're going to get more clicks than anything. They're going to get all of the views. So, of course, once Aaron Rodgers went down, they were like, all right, I'm done playing with this toy.
Yep.
And then they were like, oh, the Dolphins look pretty good. And the Dolphins go drop 70. And it's like, oh, wow. If the Bills dropped 70, you wouldn't have heard about it.
Nobody would have cared.
Yeah, they would have been like, well, it's the Bills.
Yeah.
But
Josh Allen is still throwing too many turnovers.
Yeah. It's good. He's still got the highest amount of turnovers through his career.
I don't trust him. He got to win the Super Bowl.
You'd hear that. But because it's Tua, and the whole narrative has always been that, Tua, they're trying to get rid of him.
Mm-hmm.
Like, when he has that kind of performance, of course they're going to jump on it. And some Miami fans are like, we don't like the media, coverage, picking us and doing all this stuff. And then you've got the Dolphins fans that are like, yeah, we earn this respect. You haven't earned jack. You dropped 70. Congrats. Really, congratulations. That's a feat. But you did it against a Broncos defense. Sorry, but now they were one of the worst units in the league. Now they definitely are, because you dropped 70 on them. It's going to be hard for them to climb out of that hole, but they were already bad. So this is going to be a wake-up call for the delusional Miami Dolphins fans.
If you got an award for being good through 3 weeks, Dolphins are back-to-back champions, man.
Yeah, man. They're like, it's the same thing we said and I didn't say, but I always love to be like, enjoy that week 3 Super Bowl, but anytime, because it's always been the last couple of years, if one of our division opponents beats us, they act like, oh, we've dethroned them. And I'm like, well, enjoy your Super Bowl, beating us. That's fine. But I think that the Dolphins are in for a rude awakening. It's going to be a good game, but I'm not going to lie to you. I wouldn't be surprised if Sean McDermott does figure out how to slow down that offense at all. I wouldn't be surprised if the Bills can win this one running away with it. That wouldn't surprise me. It wouldn't surprise me if it's a close game. It wouldn't surprise me if the Dolphins edge out the win.
Yeah.
So I honestly think that this game is going to be actually, I'm not even going to say it's high scoring, because it's a divisional game. So those always end up, pretty close. But I'm going to say that this game finishes 21-35 Bills.
Okay. That's sort of kind of close to where I got 41-23 Bills.
Okay. So you've got them scoring one more time.
See, I think that the Dolphins come out, they probably score on like one of their first 2 possessions. And,
definitely.
It's a game, and the Bills might, take a little bit to get it going, but then I just back half of the first quarter into the second quarter into halftime, I think the Bills dominate all of that. And I think they come out of halftime. The Dolphins might push back a little bit, but I think at the end we just close it out and run away with it a little bit. I just see us as being a better offense because as soon as what they have done for like, the last couple of weeks, as soon as that doesn't effectively work automatically, I think they're going to be like, okay, what do we do now? Right?
Yeah.
Like, we can't run the ball. We can't, get Tyreek open in space. What are we going to do now? And it'll be interesting to see how they counter that because Sean McDermott will have a plan for them. And I don't really know how you put forth a plan for Josh Allen. Although they played Josh Allen pretty well last season, I will admit, but this ain't that same defense. So
yeah, and I mean, you kind of hit it on the head there, to where the last 2 weeks against the Raiders and against the Commanders, that first drive, the Bills almost used the first drive to feel out what your plan of attack is. So you can drive down the field on the first drive. Most teams can because those are your scripted plays. But like, I would not be surprised if, the Dolphins, if they get the ball to start out with, drive down the field on the Bills and score. I would not be surprised at that at all because the last 2 teams have done it. And, it's more than likely those teams are not as good of an offense as the Dolphins. So it's definitely going to be one of those ones where the Bills are going to feel it out. And then if whatever they're trying to do, however they think they're going to go about it in the first half, it's going to be a game of adjustments, and it's going to be the defensive mastermind head coach versus the offensive mastermind head coach. So it's just going to be one of those battles. And we've seen that McDaniel against those really highly defensive minded head coaches isn't always the most effective. So we'll see about that. But we've got our finals in. So Justice, now we're to the point where you beat me last week when we were picking. And, first of all, the fact that the Texans... First of all, let's talk about the Texans, dude. What is going on down there in Texas?
But CJ Stroud is the truth.
Yeah, he is good.
Tank Dell too. I've been telling y'all about Tank Dell.
Tank Dell was on the draft on my draft boards. I would have taken Tank Dell. So I'm 1-2. You're 2-1. So now I'm gonna flip a coin. And if you win, obviously you get to pick first. If I win, I pick first. So heads or tails?
Tails never fails.
All right.
It's heads.
It is heads, actually, this time.
I knew it.
So, all right. Let me get my trusty pen out.
My handy dandy?
My handy dandy Papermate pen.
For you guys born after 2000, you won't get that reference.
For you Gen Xers.
Yeah.
Actually, are we Gen X? No, we're not Gen X, right?
I think we're just on a cusp.
Right? Okay. So I get to pick. Wow, I get to pick first. I'm let's see. I'm going to take the 49ers to beat the Cardinals.
Damn it.
Justice.
All right. That was immediately going to be my first game. Although I will say Joshua Dobbs has been playing pretty well, especially for a quarterback who didn't spend training camp with the team that he is currently starting for.
His jersey's not even in the team shop.
Yeah, very, very impressive performances by Josh Dobbs so far. I'm going to go with the Chiefs over the Jets.
Ooh, tough one there. I don't know, man. If the I swear, Taylor Swift is going to be in the audience.
Oh my God, I'm so sick of hearing about Taylor Swift.
I think it's funny, actually.
I have no problem with Taylor Swift, but it's like, bro, I'm trying to watch football. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to see Taylor Swift or any of these. Like, I'm trying to watch football. Like, I don't care. Okay.
All right, cool. So you're picking the Jets to beat the Chiefs, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. All
Yeah,
right,
that was
cool.
my bet.
So
I'm gonna put all my money on that.
all of it. Bet the mortgage. Let's see. I will take. Wow. Not much here. Oh my God, Bears Broncos.
Disgusting.
Gross. They're both 0-3, right?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Panthers Vikings.
The other 0-3 team. I forgot who it is though.
I think the Vikings are 0-3 and the Panthers are 0-3.
Panthers. Yep.
Wow. Okay. I will take the Chargers to beat the Raiders.
Dude, do you have my list or something? Like, what is going on right now?
Dude, we're on the same wavelength. There's a reason why we have a show together.
All right. Damn it. This is why you need the first pick, ladies and gentlemen. I will go Eagles over Commanders. You know the Eagles haven't looked amazing so far.
Yeah, I would. That was probably going to be my next pick if I was going to take one, because I'm confident that the Eagles, when they play their like division opponents, like they usually smack them around. So
if you pick this next game, bro, I'm gonna be genuinely pissed.
oh man, now I kind of want to guess it.
I think you are going to, but we'll see. It's not like
all the games. There's a lot of parity in here, like where the Saints and the Bucks are both mid. The Texans and the Steelers, I have no idea how that game could go. It's probably going to be the Steelers that win that one. But
CJ Stroud is
I know CJ Stroud looks good, but that Steelers defense is still pretty good.
Oh, for sure.
So I'm going to take them boys over the Patriots.
Oh, the Cowboys.
Yeah.
Oh, you mentioned Bucks Saints, bro. I thought you was about to say that, bro. All right, Cowboys over Patriots.
Yep.
See, that's one I would have picked had they not absolutely embarrassed themselves this past weekend.
I feel like they'll bounce back.
I agree. I'm just scared. I'm gonna go Bucks over Saints.
Okay.
I really like what Baker has been doing so far. I do. And Mike Evans looks really good. And I just don't believe in the Saints, to be completely honest with you.
I took the Chargers over the Raiders, and Mike Williams is out for the year.
Oh, yeah, he's done.
Oh.
But the Raiders suck, so you should be fine.
Yeah. Keenan Allen will still probably have a decent game.
The Raiders are hot boo-boo. And not only that, but they also have the kid from, TCU? One that everybody wanted us to get. Tall, fast dude. What is his name? Johnston?
Yeah, Quentin Johnston.
Quentin Johnston, yep.
Yeah. So your three games were what? Chiefs, Jets. What's the second one?
Eagles, Commanders.
Bucks,
Saints.
All right.
And Jake has 49ers over Cardinals, Chargers over Raiders, and Cowboys over Patriots.
Yep, Cowboys over the Patriots.
Who's your
upset of the week? Oh, I want to say Jets over Chiefs, but I'm not stupid.
That would be hella. If you pick that and get that right, I'll give you 3 points. No more.
Oh man, in the Meadowlands, I feel like that defense could give Mahomes problems to start out with, but if Zach Wilson looks like absolute doo-doo, then
if it was Mike White, I'd be more confident.
Yeah. You know, that's fine. Give me the Jets over the Chiefs.
I stand by my I'll be so happy that I'll be perfectly fine with giving you that 3.
I love that. I was wrong last week when I picked against an AFC East team. So now maybe if I pick an AFC East team, they'll win.
Yeah,
so
all right, so Ryan Tannehill was absolute boo-boo juice in week 1.
Okay.
Second week he came back and played pretty well. Last week he was 52% passing for 104 yards.
Oh my God.
Derrick Henry had 20 yards at 1.8 yards per carry.
Oh man. I'm guessing DeAndre Hopkins had like 3 yards.
The Titans had 94 yards total in the game. There were 16% on
man.
third down conversions. With all that being said,
they're gonna beat the Bengals.
they're gonna beat the Bengals.
Okay.
I listen, man. I am going to say that the Titans beat the Bengals because they were absolutely embarrassed last week. Ryan Tannehill is not a bad quarterback. He's not a good quarterback, but he's not a bad quarterback.
Right.
And I think Derrick Henry is going to run through a lot of people through sheer anger. That's a big man, and I'm a big man. So me saying we both big men. That's a big man. I'm going to go Titans over Bengals. I just listen, man. I think that Joe Burrow, they should have sat him, because if they would have just sat him, they probably have the same record they do now, and they have a healthy Joe Burrow. Now they got to injure Joe Burrow while being crappy. So
yeah, I don't really get the play to have Joe Burrow play through this calf thing when it's kind of like, well, he's playing through it, exacerbating the injury, but also they're losing games.
Yep.
So it's like you could lose games and have him be healthy, you know? So
exactly.
I'm
happy. Listen, Zach Taylor, you keep doing what you're doing, dog.
Yeah, you know what? That's fine. That Bengals offensive line looks absolutely terrible. Joe Burrow gets no help. However, is it an upset if the Titans beat the Bengals?
Oh, for sure.
That's
100% an upset.
And I guess in the eyes of like the media, yeah, because the Bengals are darlings of the NFL, and Joe Burrow is the second coming of Peyton Manning or Tom Brady, whatever one you want to put him in. But yeah,
he's
man,
just pure passer. No, he just has two all pros and a Pro Bowler.
Yeah, he's pretty much just Tua in an orange uniform. So there.
That is the perfect analogy, Jake.
There you go. Why does Joe Burrow get all this praise?
Yo.
Joe Burrow gets all this praise.
He's right-handed Tua.
Yeah, he's right-handed. Joe Burrow is what they want Tua to be. They want him to be right-handed, dude. Like that's I love the things where it's like, man, look at this Tua pass flipped, and it's like this is what it would look like if it was thrown by a righty. Yeah. It's like they were like, but he gets no respect because he's a left-handed. I'm like, dude, I don't think anybody really cares.
Michael Vick was left-handed, and people loved him.
So is it abnormal? Yes. Left-handed quarterbacks don't come around very often, but
it does look awkward.
It does look weird. Just kind of their motion, you're so used to seeing it one way, but when you see it reversed, kind of with it's weird.
It is weird. However, I will say that people saying that people don't like Tua or he won't be a good quarterback because he's left-handed is almost as stupid as Florio saying that Brock Purdy's not a franchise quarterback because his name isn't good enough. That was the stupidest shit I've ever heard.
I can't believe I just heard that come out of your mouth.
Yeah, no, I couldn't believe I heard it come out of his mouth.
I know, it came out of his mouth, and just you reiterating it has made me lose brain cells. I can't believe it. Yeah. But we've made our picks. Our picks are in. Hopefully I can make a little bit of a comeback and make it interesting. I mean, Justice.
What we have this week, it's possible.
Yeah, last week I thought I picked games that were going to be easy, and it just was not. So that just goes to show you that any given Sunday anything can happen. So
in your defense, in no universe is the Ravens supposed to lose to the Anthony Richardson-less Colts.
Gardner Minshew.
And in no universe are the Jags, who are supposed to be this AFC championship team with Trevor Lawrence, who's a top 3 quarterback, supposed to lose to the Texans.
Dude, I heard somebody say that the Texans could win that division this year. The way they're looking,
I'm not gonna predict that, but I will say that at this point, before week 4, it's certainly a possibility.
Yeah, so let's go through that division. They're 1-2. The Colts are 2-1. The Titans are 1-2. And who's the last team in their division? Jaguars. Are the Jaguars even playing this week? I don't think so.
Jaguars are playing this week. They got a London game.
Oh, do they have a London game?
Yeah, I picked the Jags, I think.
Oh, yeah, they play the Falcons. They're 1-2. So there's a tie for second place in that division, and they're all 1-2. And the Colts play the Rams this week, so they'll probably lose.
Who's 2-1?
The Colts.
Okay. Yeah, they'll lose.
So, yeah, that division's up for grabs. I wouldn't be surprised the
Texans absolutely could, especially if CJ Stroud continues to play the way he's been playing. They absolutely could win that division, which, if that's the case, I don't ever want to hear anything about Trevor Lawrence ever again.
Yeah, it's got to be over.
Because they started to say he was better than Josh after last week. Yo, you were down by damn near 30 points in a playoff game. I don't care if you come back and won. You were down by nearly 30 points in a playoff game. And you say he's better than I was listening.
Yeah, don't talk to me. Like, don't talk to me. Come on. So that wraps up our show. Justice, this is the part of the show where I hand it off to you because you do this the best out of both of us. Get us out of here.
Listen, guys, we had a great week of football this past week. And we got the dub, right? A great dub over the Washington Redskins Commanders. How funny is that the Native American community is suing them because they want
dude, that is insane. That is insane.
I did not see that coming.
If you put that on the 2023 bingo card, I would not have put that.
But another great win. So we'll see what we do this week against the Dolphins, guys. But make sure you tune in every single Friday for Built Different. Check out all the great shows that we have on the Buffalo fan base. Including, I'm thinking about starting the show like kind of like a reaction show, right? Like I'll react to games. I'll react to like previews of games. Just on my journey to start streaming and stuff. I'm thinking something. Department of Justice is the idea I've had. So
okay, all right. See, you've got a name that you can like play around with, So there you go.
Like that, yeah. But thank you guys for tuning in. Make sure you guys go check out all of our social media: Twitter, Facebook, etc., Instagram, YouTube. Definitely check out the YouTube. Subscribe because we appreciate all the love you guys give us. Every like, comment, subscription, repost, share. Every super chat. You guys are awesome, and again, we wouldn't do this if you guys weren't here rocking with us. So thank you for tuning in. This is the official network of the original Bills Mafia, and we are out. Go Bills.
Go Bills.